Digitalization, the Internet, and other technologies have broken down all the walls of the world, allowing the democratization of capital, technology, and information to come at the same time. Technological progress has proven that the function of the left brain can be replaced, and technology can be more efficient. Secondly, the transformation of exchange, production, trading, innovation, and lifestyle, especially as China is facing the cross-cutting of these 5 ways, has led more and more people to shift from practical rational needs such as survival and food, to emotional demands such as entertainment and happiness. The shift from focusing on high economic growth with one hand GDP to sacrificing GDP to achieving energy conservation and consumption reduction and calculating the happiness index in various regions is clear evidence. Thirdly, the Huashan road of science and technology has been falsified, and various factors such as capital, culture, and talent are constantly being dismantled, grafted, and integrated under the impact of marketization, industrialization, virtualization, and other forms. The reallocation of these resource elements is not just a theoretical logical deduction and systematic analysis, but requires improvised inspiration, obsession with details, and creativity. Fourthly, people's faith in science and technology is quietly transforming into a reverence for art and creativity. On the one hand, compared to professions such as lawyers, accountants, and auditors, many people prefer to work in the fields of art, entertainment, and design. For example, art designers in the United States have grown tenfold in the past decade. On the other hand, creativity is becoming a global trend. Singapore's creative industry with design, art, and media as its 3 pillars, has an average annual growth rate of over 8% higher than economic growth. And Shanghai's creative industry has also accounted for 6.55% of the local GDP. In addition, the government's emphasis and cultivation on the creative industry, such as Chongqing's plan to build 20 creative industry bases in 2008, bringing the assets of the creative industry to over 800 billion by 2012, will undoubtedly accelerate the switching of the creative engine. As a result, with left brain control is clearly outdated, and the thinking style of the younger generation has shifted from left switch from brain to right brain. The right brain belongs to the brain that can generate beauty and joy through inspiration, intuition, music, art, religion, and other aspects. It processes information through spatial dependence and intuitive simulation of creative thinking, opening up a jumping and fantasy imagination space for humans. The right brain represents personalization, virtualization, creativity, and fashion, which precisely matches the infiltration of multiple civilizations, the intersection of multiple ways, and the fusion of multiple needs under globalization. For convening, and is accustomed to using the laws of industrial civilization and information civilization to explain, study and judge financial problems. The development of the securities market according to geometric series conforms to the laws of financial civilization, but meets the logic of industrial civilization regulation and intervention according to the development of arithmetic progression, the so-called P/E ratio, securitization rate and valuation model in the inherent knowledge system have been repeatedly denied by the market, but they are still regarded as the 四无苏 being conservative towards traditional knowledge and unable to understand the arrival of a new civilization may result in schizophrenia. Integrating and responding to the four civilizations in a timely manner will lead to a winner-take-all in the market. It also weakens the vigilance of relevant parties towards the international financial strategy hidden behind the financial crisis, which began with Soros selling short the Thai currency. From this perspective, it is the openness and complexity of the system, as well as the enormous imagination space of currency value, that objectively determines finance the arrival of civilization's fate. At the same time, the stability brought about by complexity and the calm waves brought by Chinese-style closing positions make Chinese people who are accustomed to gradual and passive correction subjectively unclear and unprepared for this new fate. However, in the middle of the management's balance of the asymmetry that arises in reality, in the spontaneous real practice of the private sector in addition to the stock market, there are also the emergence of private finance such as Guanqi and Zhejiang Fund, which has accelerated the process of financial opening up, gradually separated the real economy from the virtual economy, and formed financial awareness and rules. It can be seen that China is unconsciously entering the door of financial civilization, and the muddled state dragged by reality is expected to continue for a long time, due to a lack of understanding and reflection on the new civilization. The original regulatory methods have still been followed. However, as regulation has been repeatedly falsified, traditional theories and empirical methods have been overturned one by one, and all sectors of society will gradually recognize the situation and understand financial civilization, monetary economy based on credit, but with the increasing growth of financial derivatives. Credit has gradually been hijacked by a group of people who love to tell stories and lack integrity, leading to the most abusive use of credit in financial civilization. The most lacking aspect is integrity. The reason why the subprime crisis triggered a run on banks was not that creditors did not believe in the strength of financial institutions, but that they did not believe that other creditors would believe in the short-term nature of the bank's crisis and would make rational choices to support each other. On the other hand, although the financial crisis is not driven by morality, it will ultimately change morality. If agricultural civilization is shortage economy through the 3 cardinals and 5 constants to curb human desires, industrial civilization is an excess economy that tempts and indulges human desires through advertising culture. The financial civilization is an economic bubble, forging yin and yang people by telling stories. Many overseas hedge funds with illiquid financial derivatives often artificially manipulate prices and go to investors to solicit credit, even offering bonuses for their good performance. At the beginning of this year, while major international investment banks were singing short of China, they were building positions and applying to increase their QFII quota on a large scale. But none of them fell, demonstrating their yin and yang nature undoubtedly. In fact, all financial market participants, including managers, are determined by their interests, and Greenspan is no exception. If he was still the chairman of the Federal Reserve believing that the subprime crisis would not be avoided, could he still find answers for irrationality? Following closely the United Kingdom and the United States, financial civilization began to strike the Chinese coast. Consistent with the rapid development of China's economy to this end, China's capital market seems to have matured overnight. In more than a year, the securitization rate has rapidly reached %. Obviously, there is no acclimatization of financial civilization in China, and the most suitable terrorist prospect for Chinese financial civilization lies in the national charter itself first. Smart and flexible, China has always had the tradition of eastward spread of Western learning has spread to the East, and foreign things are used in China. Having suffered from the loss of financial giants in storytelling, they quickly changed their minds to become masters of their own. For example, among a share-listed companies, the increase in issuance is ostensibly aimed at improving their operating ability and strengthening their main business. But in fact, there are not a few people who use the money they have raised to speculate in new shares. In the process of promoting marketization, administrative monopoly has also been strengthened, which is precisely the expression became popular in countries such as India, emphasizing the government's control over currency flow, which became the mainstream opinion in academia, and most mathematicians were still advocating for free currency floating before this. At the same time, discussions about the financial explosion in China are also on the rise, with the mainstream view that China is at the center of the vortex and has a high probability of crisis. They are worried that China will be blown up and then destroyed. In fact, the current situation of China's finance is more aptly described as the financial explosion because it represents a long-awaited energy, and the process of ultimately entering the financial explosion can be controlled by the government. In the absence of a sound financial system in China, relevant departments will not easily loosen financial regulations. As a result, China's financial civilization will transition from the financial explosion to a controlled explosion. From the perspective of Chinese reality, industrial civilization and agricultural civilization are still ongoing, and information civilization is beginning to emerge. The financial industry, on the other hand, belongs to the model of strict national regulation and a conservative approach. At this moment, entering the financial civilization still requires several hurdles. The first is the effective grafting of financial civilization with industrial civilization, agricultural civilization, and information civilization. As China's economic development mainly depends on backward state-owned enterprises, The traditional economy civilization dominated by these state-owned enterprises is likely to be magnified in the financial civilization, and finally destroyed by the financial civilization. Once the country liberalized the private economy and the innovation vitality of the whole society, it is likely to enter a benign interaction state of the four civilizations. The second is the level of understanding of the game rules of financial civilization by relevant parties, and the degree of subversion of the wisdom of industrial civilization. For example, many experts believe that the phenomenon of nationwide stock trading is abnormal and a signal of the stock market reaching its peak, while officials from the State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission believe that nationwide stock trading is a great thing due to our limited knowledge. It is difficult to grasp it clearly within a limited time frame, regardless of the purpose for which this statement is made. At least it indicates that the management still allows room for discussion on new phenomena, rather than blindly denying them. China's hybrid finance effectively balances tolerance and control, and may dominate the next wave of financial civilization.